Good evening and welcome to the January 22nd regular council meeting of the town of Vegreville. I call this meeting to order at 7:02. First order of business, I will look for a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Is there any additions or any deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. There's Councillor Wara. Hello, welcome. Councillor Wara is joining us via Zoom, Teams, or something. Okay, next up, adoption of the minutes of our last regular town council meeting. Councillor Bullock makes the motion. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. First up, supplemental. We have a letter from the Reeve of County Midburn, Roger Konechny. I am writing to officially convey the commitment of the County of Midburn Council to support the annual family pancake breakfast in Vegreville. Council unanimously approved the allocation of $250 towards the success of this community event. The annual family pancake breakfast brings together residents of all ages and backgrounds for a morning of camaraderie and shared enjoyment. Recognize the importance of fostering community spirit. The County Council is delighted to contribute to the success of this event. To further demonstrate our commitment, we are pleased to inform you that we will be sending 5 representatives from the county to actively participate and assist in the preparation and serving of the breakfast. In alignment with our dedication to supporting local initiatives that strengthen the bonds within our communities, County Council has passed a motion to commit this funding annually to the town for the annual family pancake breakfast. We believe that this sustained commitment will help ensure the continued success and growth of this event, allowing it to remain a staple in the community calendar for years to come. We look forward to continuing our collaborative efforts with the town and contributing to the prosperity and well-being of the residents in and surrounding the town of Vegreville. We are excited to participate in the upcoming annual family pancake breakfast and the positive impact it will undoubtedly have on our community. Well, so they've committed for a few more years, so be looking for a motion to receive and file on this. Councillor Berry makes the motion. Any discussion? Well, they're sending 5. We should send a letter to the Reeve and asking the Reeve if he's one of the 5. We've had a few of these now and he's never attended. I know he has probably commitments to the same event in his own division, but if not this year, if he could make a commitment for next year. A cook-off.
Best pancake or what?
Best pancake throwing contest. Well, anyway, you know, on all light, and I would love for the Reeve to come one time, and I know he has commitments in probably Manville, just outside where he lives, but we'll ask. But it's nice that they do send, and I guess staff will be coming this year, not just councillors, right? You said the CAO will be coming?
That's correct.
Ah, nice. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And next up is the letter from our CMP. You can have this one.
Okay, this is correspondence from the Vegreville RCMP detachment, and it's the Alberta RCMP Eastern Alberta District Detachment to implement safe exchange zones. On January 1st, 2024, 22 of the 27 attachments of Alberta's RCMP Eastern Alberta District will be implementing a safe exchange zone program. With the advent of new technologies, Alberta residents actively connect with one another to conduct sales and purchases. Although many of these transactions occur safely without issue, there are safety risks associated with meeting anyone online. Additionally, there are many other interactions where the public may have concerns about their safety, such as child custody and document exchanges. In an effort to improve safety in the communities we serve, Eastern Alberta District detachments with the ability to accommodate these zones are implementing designated safe exchange zones. These zones will be clearly marked outside Eastern Alberta District detachments as either parking stalls or a designated area. Residents need not contact the detachment to use this site. Simply advise the person that you are meeting that you would like to meet at the safe exchange zone outside the designated detachment. These safe exchange zones will provide a safer place for citizens to safely meet while making sales, purchases, and exchanges, including custody and visitation arrangements, said Staff Sergeant Folk of the Vegreville RCMP detachment. The safe exchange zone is not specifically monitored by the detachment or surveillance cameras. However, detachment officers are available to assist should there be a call for assistance. Any criminal activity is subject to enforcement action. The Vegreville RCMP.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll take a motion to receive and file. Councilor Lemko makes the motion. So, just so everybody knows, there will be an officer here in charge. What is his name? Oh, David Holowaka. Yeah, and he's in charge at the Vegreville detachment. So, to move forward with this, Jameson, we're going to put this out for public knowledge.
Yeah, earlier today, Corporal Ray Stack reached out to my office in the hopes that we'd be able to share that information. We're dialoguing back and forth just so we have a clear understanding of exactly where that is and just to better inform our residents. But anytime we get the opportunity to partner with the RCMP in terms of helping to inform the public, we're here for them.
So, and I guess we should relay that the RCMP don't want to be a broker in this. What they want is for everybody to use the same spot at the RCMP station where there is a camera that will capture the transaction and hopefully nothing will go wrong. It's not for them to be there and meet with everybody that's trading, you know, a couple of toy railroad cars or something like that, so.
Absolutely, aptly put. This is essentially a service to ensure that in an era where it's common practice to swap and exchange with maybe people you're not exactly familiar with online, there is a safe place to do so, but it's certainly not going to be, you know, in the presence of an RCMP officer. It's just a monitored site.
Okay, any other discussion on this? Anybody's thoughts? Good idea, bad idea? Go ahead.
It's a good idea. Providing some preventative policing in a public setting like that is a good idea. And I think even just anecdotally taking a look at, you know, the kind of things that are put into the blotter week by week, some of the things that are kind of spurious calls might prevent some of those and provide a level of safety for people. So whether you're doing safe exchange of children between custodial parents or changing your things from the buy and sell, I think it's a great way to be able to provide public safety in a way that's non-invasive, and I'm glad that the RCMP are thinking of new ways to be able to do that.
Well, I sure think that it'll alleviate some of the problems of the people that may have bad intentions on their mind, or to having it captured by an RCMP camera, the transaction might help a lot of these people stay out of our community, so. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Next up, we have a letter from the Deputy Commissioner, or the Commanding Officer of the RCMP, Curtis Zoblocki. Dear Mayor McPhee, you may have already heard, but after a long and fulfilling career with the RCMP, I have decided to retire. As Commanding Officer, I have been very grateful for the positive and collaborative relationship the Alberta RCMP has enjoyed with your community. Your input has shaped the service we provide, and without your feedback and support and participation, our collective goal of public safety could not be achieved. Please accept my heartfelt gratitude for your commitment and partnership in community safety and for the ongoing support you provide the Alberta RCMP and your police officers. While my career with the RCMP is drawing to a close, I have accepted the position of Assistant Deputy Minister with the Public Security Division of the Ministry of Public Safety and Emergency Services for the Government of Alberta. In this role, I am looking forward to the opportunity to continue working with you and ensure our communities are safe, secure, and confident in their policing services. Yours truly, Curtis Zablocki. Am I saying that right? And again, before we speak, I need a motion to receive and file. Councillor Bullock makes that. Thank you very much. And I just wanted to say that I wanted to thank Curtis as the commanding officer from RCMP, our Alberta K Division. You know, when we went to the RCMP with some of the issues that we were seeing here with the billing and stuff, to have him come to our town and go through everything, it was very important, and now we do have a good handle on it, so I'm very happy about that. So, and that and the fact that he's done a very good job, I do believe, in his position, and I know that he'll be, our paths will cross again in his new role, so. Okay, any other discussion on that information? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Next up, we have our financial department. No, we have our monthly cash statement, which is going to be presented by CAO Ling. You are very lonely at that table there tonight.
I am. It's really quiet over here. Okay, so the town of Vegreville opened the month of December with 8.8 million and closed with 8.3 million, seeing a net cash decrease of $450,000. So our major sources of cash included $345,664 RCMP grant and $621,277, which is our 2023 MSI grant payment. Major uses of cash include $87,889 for construction payments, $402,705 for school requisition payments, $205,083 for debenture payments, and $92,894 for cemetery bank stabilization project.
Take a motion for what was presented. Councilor Curtis makes the motion. Okay, any questions? Is the bank stabilization project complete?
I am unsure. I would think that it's partially, actually, Councillor Barry, if you can.
Yes, I've been following the project. They've started it this fall, and it's all staked and set up really well, but now we have to, they'll come back in the spring, I imagine, and do a little bit more work on it, but now what we have to do is watch the staked plants that they've put in start to grow, and it'll become a live stake stabilization with trees and etc. They've already terraced it. It's a lovely job going on out there. It'll be very interesting to see how it stabilizes that piece of bank. It's a good engineering project.
Okay, any questions on that? Does it give us any more land out there?
It doesn't give us more land, but it might preserve some more land.
Stop losing some land. Okay, any other questions regarding the financial statement? Some of those were big checks.
Yeah, there were a few.
It's your norm, writing $800,000 checks, I guess, but I hardly ever do it.
I think it's smaller than ones we've had in the past, so.
Oh, well.
That's smaller than the one that January's gonna be, so.
Okay, no other discussion. All those in favor? Carried. Next up, it's CAO Ling.
All right, we have a request for council decision from FCSS. The topic is the Family Day Community Road Hockey Game and Warming Station. The proposal is the approval of the street closure for a hockey game and warming station on Family Day, Monday, February 19th, 2024. The background, Family Day has been a highly successful event. In previous years, we have encouraged more youth to participate by holding a community street hockey game. This activity demonstrates to young people that Vegreville values youth by organizing a game between young people, adults, and the Junior B Rangers hockey team. This facilitates role modeling and mentoring by encouraging participation, good sportsmanship, and building relationships. Having the game on the road increases authenticity for the players and highlights the activity to people driving by. For communication, the Family Day Committee will be responsible for contacting Public Works to determine the management of the street closure, training staff and volunteers on road closure etiquette, and delivery of the barricades before the statutory holiday to a secure location. Once the event is over, a committee member will return them to a safe location, and pickup by Public Works will be arranged for the next business day. In addition, we will inform the residents and businesses in the area with a flyer the week before the event. So the recommendation is that Town Council approves the road closure of 49th Avenue between 47A Street and 45th Avenue on February 19th, 2024 from 10:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Please, and then there's attached picture for the reference of the road closure.
Okay, thank you very much. Looking for a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Rudick makes the motion. Any discussion? Okay, well, it's been going on for a few years. Hopefully the weather is nice and they can play road hockey. All those in favor? Carried. Next up, we have Jamison Brown, Community Engagement Economic Development Manager.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. This is in regards to property 4930 50th Avenue. And the proposal is to establish pricing and marketing parameters for the town-owned property located at the above referenced address. Background: after going unsold at the 2023 tax sale on Monday, September 11th, 2023, ownership of the above referenced property was formally transferred to the town of Vegreville. Upon initial inspection of the property by town administration, it was determined that the building was in extremely poor condition. In accordance with the MGA's requirements that municipally owned land is sold as close as reasonably possible to fair market value, the Community Engagement and Economic Development Department conferred with local realtors for their recommended listing price for the property. Realtors echoed administration's initial assessment, noting the property has little to no value in its current condition. Per the town's sale of town-owned land policy, list prices are to be set by council and can be determined by several factors, including the written opinions of realtors. As conveyed in the attached correspondence, realtors recommend that the structure at 4930 50th Avenue be removed, and note that as a vacant lot, fair market value would be $20,000 or less. In conferring with local contractors, the Infrastructure Planning and Development Department has determined that the approximate cost to remove the building from the property would be $10,500. Financial implications: as per the above reference policy, council must also set marketing parameters for the sale of town-owned land, including but not limited to listing the properties with local agencies and commission rates. Should council elect to list this property with the two Vegreville-based real estate agencies, there would be an initial service fee of $100 plus GST per realtor for a total of $200 plus GST. Should a realtor approach the town with an offer that council is agreeable to, the realtor would also then be compensated a commission rate set by council. The communication strategy: should, at council's discretion, the town of Vegreville enter into agreements with the two locally based real estate agencies to list the property, as per those agreements, realtors would then be required to place their own for sale signage on the property, as well as listed on MLS and their local realtor websites. And so with all of that in mind, the recommendation is that given the local realtor's assessment of the property, as well as the cost to remove the structure, the recommendation is the property be listed for sale in its current state for $10,000, with a condition that the structure be either remediated to reasonable standards or removed within 6 months of purchase. It's also recommended the property be listed with the two Vegreville-based real estate agencies with a standard commission rate of 7%. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Take a motion for the recommendation. Counselor Curtis makes the motion. Any comments? Go ahead, Counselor Bullock.
Hopefully someone will just buy the building so we don't have to worry about remating it. That way, maybe someone will actually do something with the building. Maybe they'll decide to fix it up and instead of creating another empty hole on the main drag. So I guess we'll see what happens with this.
And again, this is the process that we have to go through before we tear it down anyway, so. Hopefully somebody puts a big sign over there that says, for sale, $10,000.
That would be the hope, and will be, again, at council's discretion, should they elect to list with the realtors, I will pass that along that we'd like the price included on the signage.
Excellent. Okay, any other comments? Counselor Rohra?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. All those in favor? Gary? Well, that looks like that's what we have on our agenda today, folks. So we'll start with council reports. And I think I got Counselor Lemko last meeting. So we're gonna start with you, Counselor Lemko.
Thank you, Your Worship. January 9th, I attended the Subdivision Authority meeting related to Prosperity Park and the lots out there. January 10th, I had an interview with CBC on the MD Administrative Foundation and the vacancies that are seen across the province and our location and questioning the reason why. And we, from the interview, it was determined that although we have a vacancy of between 15 and 20%, 10 of our units are unrentable due to the size, under 200 square feet, and just a toilet and a sink, which people nowadays don't see that as a feasible place to hang their hat. There's numbers of vacancies that are much higher across central Alberta than what we're seeing here. So, an item of note, 4 days ago, the province had a news conference regarding helping seniors age in their community. And a new seniors lodge review panel will find ways to make the most existing senior lodge spaces and help seniors age in their community. So there's about 149 senior lodges like that of the MD of, like our Homestead Lodge. And they want to make it so that it's affordable and available to seniors moving forward. The panel is quite extensive. Unfortunately, I noticed there is nobody represented on the panel from Northern Alberta, which is kind of interesting. Why not? But although the panel is full of very knowledgeable people, that will certainly come up, and it's a needed review of the senior program in this province, and they're going to come up with some answers, and I'm looking forward to following that in the media. And January 16th, I attended a CARES Coalition Men's Shed meeting. Men's Shed being a place for members of the community, males, to come and share building things and just sharing time together. It's intended for those people in isolation, being from young to old, people who want to engage and maybe it's good for mental health and all that. And that was an initial meeting. Men's Shed is a program that's across Canada, and Vegreville Men's Shed is starting out for that. The 16th, Ledge meeting. Also on the 16th, I attended the Vegreville Stands With Ukraine meeting. The KUIT program is ending in the end of March 31st. And we're seeing many Ukrainians now reaching out and coming to Canada a little bit more, but reaching out to our community, looking for support to help them get established here. There's many Ukrainians that are here now, have friends in Ukraine, and there's those connections there. So we've got, right now, in the last week, we've had 2 families reach out to us. And we're supporting one out of Calgary that may be coming here shortly. And the other one is still in Poland and are getting things figured out. So that committee goes strong. I'm telling you, I can't imagine. I went to a meeting and it lasted a lot longer than our council meetings do, but it's fun to be part of. January 17th, I attended the Cultural Association meeting, and they're well on their way to the next festival. The committee, the meeting is more of just getting committee updates and any areas where they might need some help with something or whatever, but it's a well-oiled machine. They certainly get the job done. Good to be part of and watch. January 18th, the MD of Minburn Foundation meeting. We at that meeting we discussed the moving forward with phase 2 of our the building of addition of our lodge and the 62 units, and we're very pleased to see that the municipalities have put their stamp behind the lodge and the letter of support. The letters of support have come to us. So phase 2, we're moving forward with that. So I'll keep you all posted on how that's going. The 18th, I also was part of the Alberta Muni's webinar on the LGFF, which was interesting to see how the formula plays out and all that. I couldn't figure it out in my head, but I did write some notes down, and I imagine we'll have some discussion with ourselves as council to see how that plays out. 19th, I attended the plaque presentation to a new business in town, the Fluffy Cow, which is a leather and woodworking place situated on 50th there across from Regent Health in the old Vega Electric location at the Eastline building. And, Your Worship, tonight's council meeting.
Thank you very much. Next up, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you. For me, starting on the 16th with our ledge meeting, January 18th, I was at online for the LGFF discussion as well. Tonight, before the council meeting, we had our FCSS meeting. So I'm going to go through a few things here, and Councillor Bullock, who is the chair, is going to go through a few more. They come up with a nice advisory board highlights, so things that have gone on in FCSS for the last month in between our meetings. So this one's for November and December. Unfortunately, there was a rise in elder abuse in the region, so Rural Elder Abuse Prevention Coalition, known as REAP, noted 16 cases since September, and that's not necessarily in Vegreville, but they reach out north, south, east, and west of us. So they saw 60 new cases, roughly one per week, and some of them did involve the RCMP, so that's a bit disturbing. So they're looking into that, trying to get some information as to why. I know we saw a rise in abuse during COVID and that, but COVID's not on right now, so they're gonna dive into that. As well, an increase in youth seeking crisis support with complex issues. And some of the potential causes that they are thinking might be the reason. This is all preliminary, of course, but caregivers not recognizing the need for services. So somebody in trouble or in need and just not necessarily finding or not necessarily recognizing that that's happening. And then family and domestic violence cases, in the community, which is another reason why they would need that support. So again, it's some of it will stem back to violence or just not recognizing when people are in need. Which comes to the next portion, which is a gap in service they found that Covenant Health social workers based out of Camrose have been reaching out to our offices to request assistance from volunteers to help people in our community, doctor's appointment, groceries, assistance, hospital visits, which shows that there again is a lack of social workers and help in our community. So again, they'll be reaching out to Covenant Health and asking questions and seeing why, because at the forefront of this, we were hoping that we were going to have them come here on a certain amount of time during the week to supplement and help out, but I guess they're requesting help from our community. What else do we have here? So some trends for education and awareness. So in November, we had World Kindness Day, Vegreville Centennial Library, WJS Canada, MHCB, FRN, and FCSS created and distributed 20 kindness kits for families and individuals to pick up at the library, and that went off very well. As well, there was Family Violence Prevention Month, which again ties into what we're seeing, some of this abuse that's been going on. So for Prevention Month, they collaborated to increase awareness and resources about abuse, warning signs, and seeking support. So a lot of it is advocacy, a lot of it is getting information out to people, and when people come to us for assistance and help, getting them the right help that they need. One more for me. Meals on Wheels, which they have had trouble getting drivers for. They've teamed up with the Chamber of Commerce, and they have 3 new businesses that have put their name in the hat to help deliver meals. One of those being Atco. Actually, I did my first Meals on Wheels delivery last week. It was very, very cold, but it went off pretty good. Also, Vegreville Drug Mart and Bank of Montreal. So that should help get the meals where they need to go for that. And one last thing before I give the rest to Councillor Bullock is our community volunteer income tax program. So that's when people come in to get their income taxes done with the help of folks here at FCSS. And last year, they were able to help. It doesn't say how many individuals, but it said $11,668 back into the Vegreville community. So it's good news story. People that may not have gotten that money back properly if they didn't have the assistance to get their taxes done. So that's the highlights from there and tonight's council meeting.
Can you just explain to me again one more time why it was somebody from Camrose and Covenant Health
So
to us?
yeah, what it says here, and they have this as an advocacy part, so they're gonna look more into it. But it says Covenant Health social workers based out of Camrose reached out to our office to request assistance from our volunteers to help community members to get to doctor's appointments, groceries, as well as assist for hospital patients to fill out forms, etc. So there's a.
I didn't know Camrose was a Covenant Health community.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like Covenant Health should have a social worker here if they're needing, some help with that stuff, or somebody in the community to facilitate this, but
Okay.
my
Well,
2 cents.
Thank you very much. And one other thing that the FCSS and the help that they give during their income tax is a lot of people that don't fill out their income tax for years no longer qualify for a lot of programs. So once their income tax is done, they do now qualify for some government programs, which puts them in a better financial situation. Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Rudick.
Thank you, Your Worship. January 9th, we had our first meeting with the Ad Hoc Transportation Committee, and I'll let the chair talk a little bit more about that, but we had a number of people that came for that first public meeting, and hopefully we'll have some more that will come as we try to work on what we're going to offer to the community. January 10th, I attended the Vegman Learning Society meeting as a guest, and I talked about this the last legislative committee meeting, but just to reiterate, it is a Community Adult Learning Council, one of hundreds that are across the province, and they are in desperate need of board members to be able to continue their mandate to provide foundational, general interest, and community capacity building educational programs. I do have somebody that has reached out to me in terms of being interested in joining any of our boards and committees that we have as town. We don't have any openings on any of them that I'm aware of, so I'm going to recommend that she maybe reach out to the Vegman Learning Society. But they are looking for board members. They've advertised in both the traditional and non-traditional ways, and their reach out to town council was to get more board members and to have a little bit more visibility in the community, because it's been in existence in Vegreville for over 75 years. So they continue to look for board members, and I would encourage anybody that's interested to reach out to me or to Vegman. And since they've hired their new executive director, they've increased their course offerings extensively. So it's gone from a handful of courses to a really extensive list, and hopefully meet some of the needs that the community is looking for. January 16th, our Ledge Committee meeting. January 17th was Community Association for Lasting Success, and that's CALS, for those of you that are more familiar with the acronym. And just a little bit of an update. They have over 20 students that are currently enrolled in their Head Start program. And these are students that are getting some additional support before they enter the traditional school system. And so as youngsters, this is where the early childhood development makes big dividends in the long run. So this is extremely important, and CALS has also expanded some of their programming in terms of their grant applications for Alberta Education, providing some supports for transportation for families. And so there are some good outcomes by those partnerships. And family literacy programs, they continue to be waitlisted and in demand. They're very popular in the community. And Breakfast Club. So for those of you that are not attached to the school system, they prepare snacks for all students on an average cost of 50 cents per snack. And for every day, 640 snacks are prepared, which is really quite remarkable to be able to prepare those, accommodate food allergies, intolerances, and restrictions. And they send them to both of the schools in the elementary schools as well as the high schools to be able to support food access for all families and children in the community. So that's great. The strong volunteers that continue to be supporting the program, and they've also applied for a few different grants that they haven't usually. So the province had been highlighting this crowdfunding platform, and so it was sort of a short launch, but they decided that they would apply for it, and it was an extra couple $1,000s to support the programming. So again, they'll look for that for this year. And for any nonprofit group in Vegreville that's looking, the crowdfunding is something that the province has been supporting and encouraging people to apply for. On January 18th, I also attended the Alberta Muni's Local Government Fiscal Framework webinar. Good to be able to quantify. Again, it's great to have stable, predictable funding of this sort. The challenge is, again, ensuring that municipalities are not starved. And it's hard to imagine when we're receiving 36% less funding than we used to at a time when our needs are increasing in terms of infrastructure deficits. It's a real challenge. So all that to say, it's a good news, bad news. I'm glad that we have a better understanding, although it is a very complicated formula to be able to understand. I think the summary would be that depending on what the pot is to start off in terms of the money that the province decides is going to be dispensed to all municipalities, will really impact how we all are funded. And I guess the other challenge is ensuring that the reporting is equitable, because all of the funding relies on that. And so there was Tim McPhee on the call that asked a few canny questions that I think are going to be very important, because if we don't report the number of kilometers of roads, for example, it will directly impact the amount of money that we receive. So I'll look forward to making sure that we continue to have equitable access. I've had a few people reach out to me on various issues. So people are, it's warmer outside and people are thinking about other things. So we've had a few emails this week that we'll follow up with our administrative staff and tonight's council meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. And as far as your CALS meeting, their board is full? They have a full board?
CALS is very full. They've got, their AGM is in February. So it's going to be a combination of in-person and online. I'm not sure that I'll be able to attend in person, but their intention is to take their 3 proposed new board members, myself included, through the various stations. So potentially getting them to participate in the various aspects of making a snack for Breakfast Club, being a part of their literacy programs, and actually see firsthand, because all of us in this room are not participating in the activities of CALS currently, and it would be hard to imagine how full that building is and how many families are being impacted by that programming. Their board is full right now. or close to full.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Councilor Wawa.
Hello, your worship. So I'm started off on the 9th. We had the subdivision authority meeting. And on January 10th, I had a chamber meeting, and we did a sustainable planning meeting in that. And I would say, you know, in the past, I've spent a number of years going to different sustainability planning sessions and meetings. I was quite impressed with the way things are working here. I was obviously not part of the original pillars they were putting forward, but then they have it narrowed down now. And what I was very happy to see was some very strong thresholds put forward to actually be able to tangibly measure whether or not you're meeting the goals. And that was really great to see. And some very strong focus on that in reach with the businesses, not only existing businesses, but they're looking at old and new, along with having a target that is a minimum to ensure that throughout this year, before they hit this time next year, they will have, you know, had good touch to each one of them again. So that was really good. Primarily, that's what that meeting was, although we did touch on continued planning for some upcoming events. So I'll bring some more information forward from those, as they'll be having a spring fling, as well as they have ongoing discussions and planning when it comes to their anniversary, and some of their ongoing fundraising that they're always looking at is in preparation for the future of needing to do restoration on the egg, which of course is a very large project in itself. So I have only been on the sport for a little amount of time, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It is very interesting and learning a lot. I did jump in at a bit of a crazy time because they were in the middle of planning for their AGM. They've got a lot of their fundraising going, and then they were right in the middle of the sustainability planning. So they've been having kind of like little meetings every week, but it was good. A couple of my meetings that week did end up getting canceled, partially due to our issue with the library was one, but also the weather postponed it. So we do have a meeting coming up this next week. I will be out of town, but I've reached out and I will get a full update, so I'll be able to give everyone the update still from that meeting. On the 16th, I attended the legislative meeting. And then on the 19th, I was asked to drop the puck at the Ben Stelzer charity game, which was fun evening. And I just wanted to share that, you know, a community often has a hard time. You know, we get tasked, our businesses and our residents, with a lot of fundraising and donations, but in that one little day, they were able to raise $5,083 that was donated. And I want to send a shout out to two groups, one being our town workers. That would have been a very hard event to accommodate. The times moved around. There was a lot of on and off with the ice, laying down of, you know, mats and whatnot when they brought Ben's family out, as well as accommodating with tables and other setup that was upstairs with some of the Oiler Foundation items. So a thank you to our staff, that was appreciated, as well as I want to send a really big shout out to the Warwick Ladies Group. You know, they come and they volunteer their time with so many organizations in town, but they do the 50-50 at those games. And they had a very good 50-50, quite a bit over the $300 mark, and they donated 100% of it to the Ben Stelzer Foundation. So definitely a wonderful thank you to the Warwick ladies that are always giving back. And just, I guess, a shout out to just what a special family that is, and the strength of Ben's mom to come out to these events and talking with everybody. Her littlest girl is just the cutest little thing in a jersey that was down to her knees, and her older girl, of course, is involved with the Oilers Foundation and does a lot of really good work. And after in discussions, it appears that they would like to make this an annual event to the community. So it was just a nice event to go to, but obviously a special thank you to that family for coming out and sharing their time and doing it out here in Vegreville. And then tonight's council meeting, and other than that, I am out here in Ottawa, but like I said, I will, they are not happy with me because I brought the snow down with me. It was very nice when I landed last night, and everyone was walking through snow by the time I came home today. So that's all I got.
What information can you give us on the Chamber AGM, where and when?
Kate, I've got it in my calendar for you. And I will get you more details on the Chamber AGM. I put it in my folder. Sorry. Of course, my phone does not want to open it up when I...
Well, maybe you're being in the wrong time zone.
No, we're good. It is February 21st, and I will get more details about exact location and information, but everybody, if they can mark their calendars for the 21st, and then I can bring more of an update next week.
Okay,
As
so,
I was not at their meeting. Yeah, unfortunately, they did another meeting this last week, and that was the one I wasn't at. So I will get you some more info, but it is the 21st of February.
okay, thank you very much. So those who plan on attending will let Leslie know, and Deputy Mayor Councillor Rudick will be stepping in and doing the swearing in. I will be out of town at another event. Okay, thank you very much. What?
I can't wait to swear.
Oh, my goodness. Everybody's a comedian here. It never ends. Councillor Bullock, what have you been up to?
Thank you, Mayor. So on January 9th, the Subdivision Authority Board meeting regarding Prosperity Park. January 9th was our Ad hoc Transportation Committee Community Consultation meeting, where that was a kickoff of our first meeting. And some of the things that came up is what is the biggest gap in service? And lack of transportation is the biggest barrier to access services such as employment, childcare, healthcare, etc. The affordability part of it. A survey was completed by the Housing and Basic Needs Task Force, found that 71% of the respondents to the survey identified a need for transportation in Vegreville. 3 of those had responded, said they were actually walking to neighboring communities and municipalities for appointments. So that was something I didn't know, and it was quite surprising. So,
I am surprised that somebody's walking from here to Mundare.
yep, that's that's one of the things that came up there. So, another thing about the VEG Transportation Services Society, it was noted that some of the rides are limited, often because they're already booked. Okay, also no services on the weekends and evenings. And there's just, we need more volunteers. They're doing everything that they can from what we were told, so. Another thing that came up, taxis, they just can't accommodate wheelchairs. So that's another thing that we're looking at there, so. It's also gonna tie into January 18th, it's a Healthy Aging Community Consultation Webinar on Provincial Assisted Transportation Project. Currently, we're working on the expression of interest, so that's going to come back to the committee at our next meeting on February 6th. So there will be a few more attendants to that meeting. I managed to actually speak to 2 of them today from other transportation companies. Yellow Rooster is going to attend that meeting, and it sounds like we will have Ryan's Taxi will be attending, and I haven't heard back from some of the other ones yet, so there'll be some more input on what can be done there. So we'll be looking for, if this program moving ahead, how it can be sustainable in our community. We'll be looking at a pilot project in the future after more consultation with the ad hoc committee. Also, on January 18th, I also attended the webinar on Alberta Munis for the LGFF capital allocation formula. And I'll just echo what Councillor Rudick said about happy to have that funding in place, even though it is a little bit less than what we got before, and hopefully that formula will rise in the future. On January 19th, business appreciation presentation at the Fluffy Cow Creations, the woodworking and leather shop there. And if anybody over Christmas stopped into that store, nice little addition to our community, a different business, so he'll custom do woodworking and leather work for you as well. So, and tonight, the FCSS meeting, I'll kind of take off from where Councillor Curtis had left it. So Councillor Lemko had referred to the men's shed, which is headed by the Vegreville Cares Coalition. It's a national program. They did receive some seed money from a small grant that they had received. And I also hear that also through FCSS, they are helping to apply for grant funding, and hopefully they're successful on that. They're applying through the Rural Mental Health Projects Fund. So hopefully they're successful on that. If they are, there's a 3-year chance that they could, get some extra funding out of that. So on the mental health addictions grant, they're waiting to hear what's coming out of that as well. Okay. Something interesting that came up there as well and has gone live today from the Crisis Association is the automated crisis information line. So you're going to start hearing about this shortly through social media. There is a phone number that you'll be able to phone in Vegreville here, and you could, or text to it, sorry. You would text, for instance, the word crisis, or let's say the word shelter, and you'll get an automated crisis information line message. And it's going to give you some highlighted things. If this is emergency, dial 911. If you're looking for information, you dial 211. And then it'll go down and highlight phone numbers to these other areas. Emergency Hours Support Contact Center, Rural Distress Line, Women's Crisis Support, 988 Suicide Crisis Line, or text 988, 24-hour distress line. And it's an automated message, and you'll be able to highlight, just hit the link, and it'll get you that phone number and carry you through. And also, we were doing some planning for the FCSS 50th anniversary planning. So that's going to be happening on June 13th. One of the spots discussed will be Rotary Rendezvous Park at Highway 16A and 50th at the lights there. That's a possible spot for that. Keep an ear out and watch social media for that event planning and tonight's council meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. As far as your first meeting with your ad hoc transportation committee, so who are the members you're trying to attract? So maybe this would be a good spot to maybe bring up. I know that there was members from FCSS at the meeting. And who else in the community was there, and who else would this committee be targeting to come to your meetings?
Targeting, well, VAST was also there. FCSS, obviously, representation from there. We are looking for representation from seniors facilities. So we haven't got all that yet. We're still hoping for more, and they have been reached out to. So, and Vegreville Transportation Services Society, we're hoping a representative from there will come, not only Councillor Rudick. So we need more input from that as well. And as well, the CALS had attended the previous meeting as well. So.
Okay, so we're getting some involvement already, and it's been one meeting, and it would be nice if VTSS would be able to get on board here and just their thoughts. I mean, they've been in this business for a long time. And
For sure.
we want to make sure that they're a partner in this. So.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think I'll do my first item last, my last item second. Anyway, on the 16th, I was also a Ledge Committee meeting here and the webinar on the 18th and the plaque presentation on the 19th. But what I really want to start with is I did the Talk of the Town taping for the Vegreville Regional Physicians and Health Professionals Attraction and Retention Committee, which some of us try to say is VRPHPARC. And I'll thank Jeff for doing a nice job of editing. Tara Cuzio, our Deputy Reeve, represented the county, and we tried to give a little bit of an explanation about what the committee is about. 20 years some history, been some good work done in the town, mainly attraction, retention. So we're looking at our duties as trying to attract healthcare workers, because it's been expanded to just beyond doctors now. And then, of course, when we have healthcare workers here, working at retaining them. So we do have over 630 healthcare workers in the town. and we're very pleased and grateful for the work that they do. So our committee will try and do things like during Healthcare Week and et cetera to go around to the various areas where healthcare workers work and thank them for their work. When doctors are looking at coming to the community, our members will meet them and tour the town, show them the school, show them the hospital, the clinics, and try and encourage them. Because what we pointed out was that we're in competition with all the other communities that are looking for healthcare workers. So we have to try and do things to make our community look just a little bit better than some of the other communities and encourage them to select us. Now, I'll just kind of leave that part of it and go back to my first meeting because that happened to be the meeting of the Vegreville Regional Physicians and Healthcare Professionals Attraction and Retention Committee. So I'll try and just give a little bit of background and update on where we're at right now. We are currently 3 doctors down, and it's a long process that they have to go through. There's actually 2 assessments. There's the first assessment. Once they're interested in coming or interested in rural medicine, they have to go through a preliminary assessment to see that they have basically the credentials. Once they've passed that, then they have to go to a second assessment, which is usually 3 to 4 months, and they have to be with a hospital basically or a clinic from outside of our area with another doctor who does the assessment. And that's one of the difficulties right now. There's very few assessors. So even when they're ready to get to that step, sometimes it's not easy for them to get through the assessments. So we currently have 1 doctor who has finished the first assessment and is waiting for his second assessment when an assessor becomes available so that he can get to that, and then that would let him start practicing in Vegreville. So that person, and I won't say names or anything right now, but that individual is online, and we're hoping that it will come through in the spring. The second doctor is waiting for the first assessment. So that situation is going to take a little bit longer. So hopefully, again, spring to summer. And we have a third doctor that is shortlisting at the moment, which means that once he's accepted, he can go to the first assessment before the second assessment. So if I've tried to impress upon you, it's a long, slow process that I really wish the provincial government would step in and speed up. So that's where we're at right now. But wait listings at the clinic are getting better because there's currently a nurse practitioner there who's doing a lot of the walk-ins. So that is helping alleviate. I think the provincial move to allow RNs who are qualified to be practitioners, if they can step in and help reduce the workload, particularly for those cases where a doctor really isn't essential, then I think that's going to help start making some differences in our health care. For the other aspects of it here, we have currently a medical student in town, and there'll be 2 more after that. They come at 1-month intervals, and they're taking their rural health training at the clinic, and they're living in town right now, and we help support them. And starting on May the 5th, there'll be 4 nurses. The medical students are from the U of A, and the nursing students will be coming to work out of the hospital. They come on February the 5th until about April the 16th and be working in conjunction with the hospital, and they come from McEwen University. And so this is a really good training to get them into rural settings, and it's very great now that Vegreville is getting into this process with RPAP and et cetera to be able to do some of this. And of the nursing students in the past, we've now got just about an 80% success. I think out of 7, or so that we're here, 3 or 4 of them now have been hired on in Vegreville. So it's a good program to try and get them introduced, and Lindsay at the hospital is working diligently on those assessments as well. It should just about, oh no, the one last thing that was brought up is the aspect is, I think there's a high school careers day again. One was done not long last year, and I believe another one will be coming up probably in May. And that's where high school students get the opportunity to see all the different things that take place in the hospital and get some hands-on experience, et cetera, so that when they start deciding what they want to do in the future, that maybe they'll take their education in one of those lines and then consider coming back to Vegreville. And because it's already been brought up tonight, we're short of healthcare workers, particularly in social work and in some of the other areas. But one of the sad things that was mentioned at our meeting is that we lost 3 people, an RN and a couple of others, because there's no childcare here. And they finally just had to pull the pin, move, and take a job somewhere else where there was childcare. Without some of these things, we can try as a committee to do things, and we can try and do incentives. But those incentives are not really the main thing that encourage a healthcare worker to come here. It's really the community services and the amenities and the housing, things like childcare. So we have to actually step out of our mold and start looking at how we can try and get our community to be able to support more of these needs, because that's what attracts and retains healthcare workers, not whether we can give them a little bit of assistance when they arrive. So that's my report for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and I don't think it's a secret within our community. Childcare is a big problem. And again, federal announcements that they were going to be supporting a $10 a day daycares costing pushed a lot of people out of that industry in our community. And hopefully we'll get some announcements going here shortly, and hopefully there will be some private sector daycares opening up some spots here soon, is my hope. Okay, well, thank you all. So I've been busy. On January the 9th, we had our Crossroads Economic Development Alliance meeting at the county office, and it's the new economic development department at the county, the town of Vegreville, the village of Innisfree, and the town of Manville are come together, and they received a grant, and they're trying to put together this new Crossroads Economic Development Alliance, and hopefully the launch is going to be coming out soon. They're just getting their website done, and they want to be ready before they go public, that everything will be ready, and so they can go right to their website and stuff. So a couple more little things to straighten out, and they'll be ready to go. On January the 11th, I had a budget meeting with NAGO, Northern Alberta Alliance for Growth and Opportunity, which used to be the Northeastern Mayors and Reeves. And we are looking at our next issue that we want to tackle with the provincial government, which is going to be healthcare in the Northeast. So we were looking at how we're going to be funding our efforts to get a hold of the GOA, the Government of Alberta, and what we understand right now from some of the mayors and rees that have already had their health meetings is that basically there's not much of a plan. They have a house, but there's no walls in it. So we see a big opportunity to go in and help them design this house. And we only care about the Northeast. So this is what we're trying to do, is our next issue that we're taking on. So I'll keep you updated what's happening there. On the 12th, I attended the Fish Fry at Vantage Builders, Rona, which was very good, but it was so cold, the turnout was way down. They had a ton of fish cooked up there. But it was a really nice meal, and nice to see that they're expanding again on the Rona side there. They're pushing the walls out, and they are, at the time, on the 12th, they were about 3 weeks away from the online orders going through the Vegreville Rona, which is a big part of the business they were expecting. But they just had to get everything ready that from what was in their old store, and to have all the computers read it all right. And then, so now when you order online from this area, you'll pick it up at the Vegreville Rona. So wish them luck there. On the 15th, I met with Canadian Strategies Group on behalf of Natigo. We're putting a bit of a strategy together, how we're going to tackle this health issue in northeastern Alberta and how we're going to approach the government. So I'll keep you up to date as we move forward with that. I had the Ledge meeting on the 16th. On the 17th, Jameson and myself and Kathy, the new economic development person for Crossroads Economic Development Alliance, went to Vermilion. We had a very nice meeting. There were some MLAs in the room. And the MLA, Shane Getson, I don't know if you guys have ever had a chance to meet him, but this guy is sharp as a tack, and he's not a career politician. He was in the pipeline business for a long time and the oil and gas industry. And some of his thoughts about where this province is going to go and economic corridors, which he's the parliamentary secretary for, he has some big plans. I hope that he chooses to stay in provincial politics, because his vision is amazing, and I'm really hoping that the Premier and the cabinet ministers are listening to Mr. MLA Getson. And it was all in all a very good meeting. It was very well attended, and you know, to see MLA show up, and Tanny was putting together a report for the Premier. What's his last name? Yeah, Tanny Yao, on northern economic development. So I will be getting him some of the numbers that we're putting together right now from Natigo, and it'll be important. We don't consider ourselves northern Alberta, we're the northeast. And I tried to explain the difference to him, but I think he caught on. But I will be getting him the information that the Premier's requested of him. And like I said, it was a very well-attended meeting. I too was in on the meeting on the Alberta Munis on the funding formula, which wasn't really that complicated, other than with that 3% and how that's broken down. It's kind of funny how what Alberta Munis' request of the minister was and what RMA's request of the minister was kind of different. But again, they have different needs, and before we put our next application in, or our update on our lengths of our roads, I would like to make sure that we figure this out very well. I'm a little curious on a couple of other issues about the funding, and I would like to talk to Minister MacGyver. So that was one of the questions you sent out to me today. Would I be interested in a meeting at the spring Alberta Munis if Minister MacGyver was available? And I would like to try to arrange, and I would like to get some clarity on a couple issues. So if we could, that would be nice. And as I would imagine, there's maybe even some questions of the staff about where we're going to qualify next year. I mean, because what I've heard, if you go online to Alberta Municipal Affairs, they don't actually break it out that well on how the funding formula actually was put together for our community.
No, we actually have to request the information from Municipal Affairs. The only information they release is the actual amounts that we receive.
Well, a lot of it's population, and but as a council, we don't know what we put in. And this is what the questions that we have of council is, if we can see what information we provided.
Yeah, and I can, I've got the listing from the webinar as well, and I can start gathering that information. Unfortunately, I need some help digging that stuff up, so I will get that to you.
Well, we do have some time. They won't be expecting this information for a while again. So, yeah, so we'll get on that. Okay, thank you, and tonight's council meeting. Okay, so thank you all again for what you do every day out there in the community. And what do we have next? We have no closed session items today. Is there any other business of council? Well, maybe we can have a director's report. No, we can't have that. Just joking. Everybody's busy, I get it. Okay, well, there's no other business of council. I'll adjourn this meeting at 8:12.